Hello, and welcome back to Real Horror Show, a horror movie review podcast where we review horror movies from Netflix, Hulu, Shudder, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sam Odie, and
Stormy skies. Hello, listeners.
welcome to our podcast. Today we will be reviewing Saw, which is a 2004 American horror
Or
movie directed by James Wan in his feature directorial debut and written by Leigh Whannell from a story by Wan and Whannell. It is the first installment of the Saw film franchise, stars Whannell alongside Carey Elwes, Danny Glover, Potter, Michael Emerson, and Ken Leung. The film tells a nonlinear narrative revolving around the mystery of the jigsaw killer who tests his victims' will to live by putting them through deadly games where they must inflict great physical pain upon themselves to survive. The frame story follows Jigsaw's latest victims, Winall and Elwes, who awaken in
it's
a
it's
large.
Ools. Carrie
I,
Ools.
but no, I was watching. I watched a Princess Bride
Is it
reference.
Elwes?
It's Elwes. I thought it
Get
was Yules
out!
too, but they said Elwes.
Ah, shit. Well, face. Okay, then. Okay, I'm sorry. I
I've
was
always
like,
heard Yules too,
me
so
too.
Elwes or Yules,
Elwes.
I guess.
That's a strange name. Okay,
Um,
well, Elwes it is. Okay, but continue.
who they awake in a dilapidated room and are ordered to kill one another kill each other to save Dr. Lawrence's family. Rest of the intro. And this is how we like to break it down: characters and acting, followed by story, followed by production. And then we like to discuss the real horrors of this movie addresses. Sometimes they're serious, and sometimes we like to have a bit of goofy fun. That being said, we are a horror movie podcast. So here's a general trigger warning. We talk about death, blood, guts, and other unsavory topics that might not be suitable for everyone, although we try to do so with sensitivity. Listener's discretion is advised. Movies are then rated on a scale of what the fuck did I just watch, which means there are no redeeming qualities to be found. Meh, it's okay, and ah yeah, that fucked me up, what all horror should try to be. So, let's get started. Um, I
Yeah.
was gonna pop in with this review all cocky saying, yeah, Carrie Elwes or Ewells was the star vehicle to help get this indie movie get made. Some insider knowledge because I have been on the indie movie making side of things. You try to get like a star vehicle attached to the project who just wants to do the movie to
Yeah.
help it gain momentum. So I thought it was just Carrie Elwes. I forgot that Danny Glover was also in this movie, which
Yeah.
that one is surprising to me because I feel like Danny Glover has some merit, and that's who I was confusing. God damn it, now I forgot his name. Donald Grover.
Yeah.
Like when I was trying to say Donald Grover before, I kept wanting to say Danny Glover. So,
Yeah. Well, there's Donald Glover too, isn't there?
oh god,
Glover.
oh god, there's so
Isn't
many.
isn't that
No,
Donald
Donald Glover. Yeah, no, that's what I'm confusing.
Childish
Donald
Gambino?
Glover, Childish
Yeah.
Gambino. That's who I was confusing him with, and I feel like
Yeah.
I always
Their
think their
names are
last names
almost
are
the
different.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah, their names are very similar.
it's like fucking Michael Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. Who?
Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like a very
yeah,
slight change with the letter.
yeah.
Yeah, Michael Beach.
Like
Yeah.
who let him do that? Who
I know.
let?
Come on, man. He's like, you're gonna have to add your initial. Did you just
And
sneeze or
some.
something?
Hmm?
Did you just
No,
sneeze or cough?
I had a little cough.
Oh, okay. It's like I heard a
I'm
sound.
fighting what could be the common cold, which I know is a rarity these days.
Yeah.
But I can't be anything else. I'm vaccinated and I'm not like RSV. I'm not like my
Yeah.
chest doesn't hurt, so I think I'm just a puss who has a common cold.
Yeah, you just might. I wish we can get like vaccinated against like the common cold. It'd be pretty
Well, you
great.
know what? One of the good things about COVID is I think it got us closer to a vaccination against the common cold because
Oh yeah,
I think there's similar virus strains. There's just like
you're right.
I I don't know science. I know they're different, but they're both like coronaviruses. That's why people
Yes.
claimed COVID was a hoax because coronavirus is also responsible for the common cold, but they're different
Right.
like They're different strains
strains
of
or
a
whatever.
coronavirus.
Yeah.
Anyway, science. We're not scientists.
We're not
We're
science,
we're far from it.
but that's like, but I remember reading about that too, Sam. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, I hope so.
And I feel like that's why we got the vaccine for COVID so fast, was they were already researching it for the common cold, so
Oh,
they just
cool.
changed direction. They were
They just
researching the
pivoted.
vaccine for something else.
Yeah, they just pivoted because
Yeah.
there's a more pressing matter.
Mhm.
Global pandemic. Damn.
So anyway,
Well, you
Danny,
and your hot takes, Missy. Go ahead and lay it on me. Wait,
but
do
I
you want
think
to
Danny
summarize
Glover
it?
was
Yeah, go.
I think Danny Glover was also one of the star vehicles that got attached
Yeah.
to this, because he's a pretty famous actor. I want to say he's in
What's he
oh my
in?
God, why
Yeah.
do he's in
Don't glove
Lethal Weapon. I wanted to say
it.
Die Hard, but it's Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Could be in Die
Danny,
Hard. Everybody's in Die Hard.
dude, yeah.
They're both
Here he
Bruce
is.
Willis movies, but yeah, so he's a very famous cop actor. So
Oh,
I forgot the cop plot line in this movie, so I think they got very lucky with Danny Glover and Carey Elwes wanting to
yeah.
be in this movie. I feel like by 2004, Elwes wasn't doing too much, but like he's Wesley in The Princess Bride.
Yeah, he's really great. Princess Bride, is he in anything else like big name? It looks like he's in Robin Hood Men in Tights too,
Robin
but
Hood Men in Tights.
you and I know him for his best role in Twister, where he's like
Yeah,
the bad
he, yeah,
guy.
he's in it for the money, not the science.
Yeah. He's the guy, like his name I forgot, but
Jonas.
Jonas Miller.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we
he's
love to
most
see
famous
it.
for Wesley. So he's made for life by doing The Princess Bride.
Absolutely.
So I think with those two names attached, the next steps in the Saw franchise make a lot of sense, and we'll get to that when we get to production, because this is a retrospective and this is the first movie, and there's a lot of interesting tidbits that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, so alongside Carey Elwes, we have Leigh Whannell, who's one of the writers of the film, as a bathtub guy.
Adam.
He dropped
And
the
this,
T.
I know what a fucking idiot, but this dude, he's like, I think is Australian or is he from New Zealand? He's
Both Wan and Whannell are from Australia, so that's one of the production notes, is that
yeah.
they could not find funding to get this movie made in Australia, so they were urged to
Uh-huh.
move to Los Angeles to pursue
Uh-huh.
making this movie.
Aha, yes.
So, yes, they are Australian. And I didn't hear his accent breakthrough, but I did hear Carrie's accent breakthrough a
What
couple
is
of
he?
times.
Is he like English?
Yes.
I just thought he spoke in like a interesting manner. You
No,
know what I mean?
he's
I did
English.
not. He's English.
That's
Oh, I feel
yeah,
so
that's a joke from
stupid.
that's a joke
Um,
in Robin Hood Men in Tights. Is he says, unlike other Robin Hoods, I can speak in a British accent, because the uh
yeah,
it's not Mel Gibson, but I'm gonna say Mel Gibson. The Mel Gibson Robin
I
Hood had come
I
out
think
a
that's
year
right.
earlier,
Yeah.
and he couldn't speak in a British accent. I don't think it's Mel Gibson.
Is it Russell Crowe? I can picture him.
No, he's one of those types though.
Robin Hood, like the regular serious Robin Hood movie.
Yeah, that came out in like 91,
It's
yeah.
Russell Crowe. Yeah.
Was
No,
it
no,
Russell?
no.
Kevin
20
Costner. It was
Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner.
Yep, I'm looking at the newer one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, Kevin Costner can't do a British accent, so Robin Hood Men in
Too
Tights
American.
poked fun at that.
Huh, yeah. Didn't even realize that Carey Elwes English. God damn it.
Yeah.
I just thought he just talked weird. Like, you
No,
know,
he talks weird because he's a Brit trying to do an American accent.
he should be able to do better. I mean, but maybe no, some
At
people
this
I guess
point,
can't. It's
let me
hard.
make sure. Yes, he is an English actor.
I
I
don't
don't
know,
want him
like
to be from like Wales or
I,
Scotland, and I'm calling him British, because I that's not nice. That's they don't like that.
I don't like
If
that,
you
yeah.
if you call Killian Murphy
Yeah, Killian, yeah.
if you call Killian Murphy British, he will correct you and not be happy about it. So
Where's he from? I thought he was American too.
he's Irish.
He's Irish. Is he from
Mhm.
Ireland or is he like an American man who is
I'm
Irish?
pretty sure he's from
From
Ireland.
Ireland? All right, sweet.
He might have lived here for a while because
Well,
his
yeah.
accent's not as prominent,
Okay.
but when you hear his award speeches, it's definitely
It's
there.
okay. That's like that. This is like a Christian Bale type situation where Christian Bale's
No,
so good at an American accent that I
yeah,
like you'd never know.
yeah, and he's Welsh,
He's
which means
Welsh.
he's from Wales.
Christian Bale is, or
Yeah,
oh
Christian Bale is
wow,
Welsh.
Welsh.
Yeah.
Nice. You know who else is from Wales? Is Anthony Hopkins, I believe.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Christian Bale, I forget, is not American all the time because he's so good at it.
He's so good. And then when he speaks, he has a very heavy accent, actually, when he's
Hmm.
like himself. Anyway.
Yep. Anyway, back to acting.
Actor,
The
yeah.
only actor I thought was weak and
Yeah.
indie was Dr. Lawrence's wife.
Oh
Um,
yeah, she's
not during like the torture scene. Like anyone can do a torture scene and cry and scream. It was when
yeah.
she was confronting him as he was leaving, and she was like, "Are you
Oh.
really going to act like you're happy with this life?"
She's like, yeah, I wish you would just break down and tell me you hated me. At least there'd be some passion in it. Just
Yeah,
go. And I was like,
and
all
that you
right.
could put some of that onus on Whannell and Wan for how they wrote the script because there's just
Mhm.
it's not the best written Saw movie. Um,
Yeah, I can agree with you on that part, Sam.
and
Yeah.
that's fine because
Just
this was their
yeah.
first movie.
They do say some dumb shit though sometimes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of clunky dialogue and it's just not as smooth
Yeah.
as it is in the later movies. And I could just be biased because the most recent one I saw was Saw 10, and
Yeah.
I think the writing in that movie was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, you're right. Because I was watching last night and there's like some stuff. I wish I could pick it out for you, but there are some like one-liners that are said, and I'm just like, no one really talks like that, do they? You
mhm.
know? Like they're trying to be clever, but it just doesn't hit the mark. Or like the acting for from the actor is just like, yeah,
Yeah.
not great.
So let
All
me
right.
pull up his IMDb before I say anything
Who
incorrect.
we doing
The
now?
other actor that we should talk about before moving on to story and writing is Tobin Bell
What about Adam? We
as
didn't even talk about him. The other guy in the room.
Adam. Yes, we should talk about Adam, the other guy. I think he did the best with the material, and that makes sense because he's the guy that wrote the material. So these words have probably been playing in his head for years. The original short
Mhm.
film on
Yeah.
Wikipedia, it says they started working on this movie, started writing it in 2001. So by
Wow.
2004 or 2003, when they're making it, it makes sense that he's been thinking about these lines for so long that he knows exactly how they should be delivered.
Yeah.
So I think he may have actually given the best performance, especially there at the end when he realizes
Oh,
his only
yeah.
way out went down the drain.
Yeah, and also watching it at the end whenever he's like upset because Gordon is able to get out and he's leaving him and he's like, "Don't leave me." Like I like get all sad for him and I'm like, "Poor Adam, don't leave him in the room." You
Hmm.
know, I get sad. Because he's just a young kid and he just like, yeah.
Yeah,
But you're right. Yeah. And people really, and I don't know if you like go on the Saw subreddit yet, but people
I have
fucking
not.
hate, they hate Adam. I don't know why. I like Adam a lot. I think he's so
I
sweet.
don't I don't think there's anything wrong with Adam to
I
hate.
know, Sam,
Like
you're
Lawrence
right.
is so much more unlikable, especially we won't get into it now because this is a series retrospective, so we have like 20 weeks to go. But in one of the
Yeah.
later sequels, when we find out Lawrence started working for Jigsaw,
Spoiler alert.
spoilers, uh,
Dude, but yeah, I love
Lawrence
freaking
is the
Lawrence
hateable
Gordon.
character.
I think he's like so cool and badass because he's like the surgeon. He's
Mhm.
like does all this stuff. But yeah, he's supposed to be like unlikable because he's like cheating on his wife and like being a dick and like doesn't give a shit. But he's like, my life is completely perfectly in order. But like my family doesn't like me. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I I only like him because he's a doctor. But yes, moving on to Tobin Bell, who in fact was in the room the whole time.
Yes. Onward to Tobin Bell. So Tobin Bell, looking at his IMDb page,
Is
he did
he
do.
American?
Yeah, doesn't say on IMDb. You get on that. I don't know if you picked any of that up.
You got that. I want you to play along with me on this one, Adam. But yeah, is Tobin Bell American?
I don't. I think he is. I think he is.
Yes, American actor. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
He was born in New
Um.
York. All right, sweet, sweet, sweet.
Anyway, he did quite a lot before Saw. Like he has so many credits, just like background actor
Small
or
stuff and voices in an animation, dude. Isn't
voices
that
and
wild?
animations.
It's got that voice though.
One episode spots in like Charmed, West Wing, Alias 24. Um,
Yeah.
he was in what looks to be a shitty horror movie with a 3.6 star rating called Black Mask 2. So he makes perfect sense to jump
Yeah.
on board with this weird indie film to just
Mm-hmm.
lie on the floor for however long it took to film, probably just 10 days. I feel like that sounds right. I don't think Saw
Yeah.
took too long to film. Um,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, most of it's in one place.
he took a risk, and that risk really paid off because he became the face of this franchise.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but there's not an incredible lot we can say about Tobin Bell in this movie
Yeah.
like we can in later movies. Like we know Jigsaw, we don't even know why Jigsaw is doing what he's doing really. We get
Yeah.
like the implication that he's sick.
Yeah, like we know he has the brain cancer, but
Yeah.
we only find that out at the very end. And like it's also a blink if you miss it, blink and you miss it detail. So you really have to
Yeah.
pay attention whenever those like big overviews happen at the end where there's like the crazy crazy what are those things called, Sam, when there's like a million shots and it's super fast?
Montage.
Yeah, like a montage or like smash cuts, like super,
Yeah.
super, super fast. So that and but we're like, oh yeah, he's sick, but like why does that make him want to do this to other people? I thought he
Yeah.
was too sick.
So we
Yeah.
don't know a whole lot about Jigsaw the person yet. We only know
Yeah.
these very small details, which kind of makes this first movie scarier because we never really figure out why the Jigsaw killer is doing what he's doing. We don't really see his philosophy quite yet. We get the idea that
Yeah.
he's
All we
because
know
we're
is that he's like
seeing
a sick man,
yeah, we're
sick in
seeing
the
it
head.
we're seeing it through like the lens of the police officers investigating
Yeah.
the murders. And we do meet Amanda in this movie very briefly. She's in
Yeah.
the famous, probably the most famous trap in the franchise, the reverse bear trap.
Yeah.
Um,
1.0, because they do
but
make
I,
another one, which
yeah, I
says,
don't even think at this point she says
he
that,
helped me.
yeah, like it's not really like as clear as it becomes in the later sequels that his intent is to quote unquote help people, especially with Saw 10, where um, it's a much more sympathetic view of John Kramer as
Yeah.
Jigsaw. When you see he's like, we got to take him to the hospital. So I guess now that we've seen Saw 10, we can gather that he's probably the one that helped Lawrence after he woke up and left the room because he's adamant about if you pass the test, I'll give you a lift to the hospital.
Right, yeah, and also we don't know a lot of the details until like future movies where
Yeah.
like they do flashbacks where we like see what happens after Lawrence when he leaves the room. We see before Adam and Lawrence wake up whenever he takes that like paralytic thing where he's able to like lay on the ground and look dead for like however many hours they're in the room, like a couple
Mhm.
hours and like all that. But other than that, all we know is that we know the voice and we know the Billy doll. But then when he speaks at the end, we finally are able to match it. We're like, oh, it's not Zepp that's the bad guy. It's this guy laying on the ground, like
Oh
so
yeah.
that's the big twist.
Zep. I
Yeah,
It's been forever since I've seen the first Saw movie. Zep,
yeah.
played by the guy from Lost.
He's like
Uh,
kind of cute.
what?
You don't
Ugh,
think he is? He's got like a
no.
weird look, but I don't think he's ugly.
He's got a weird look and he's a one-trick pony. He plays the
Uh,
same exact character in Lost for several seasons.
really like a creep.
Yeah.
Like a creep guy.
And
Oh
he's good
man,
at what
I've
he
never
does.
seen
I'll give
Lost. I've
him.
never seen Lost.
Oh, I've never finished Lost. I tried over the pandemic, but then it got to the point where they're speaking Latin in an episode, and I just can't do that.
Are they really in purgatory?
I think it's
Just
up for us to
just tell
decide.
me. Okay.
Um,
Just tell
I think it's implied that they're in purgatory, but what's not as clear is that they didn't all die on the plane, that the things that happened in the series did happen, and as they die, they enter purgatory, and then they get to ascend to heaven once they've all reunited. I think that's what we're supposed to gather from it.
It looks like he's also in I don't know if it's a show or movie called Person of Interest.
It
Um,
is that is a show. I've never watched it.
show. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, look,
Let's
he's in Saw, but then he's in Lost later.
ooh, maybe they picked him up for Lost because he's creepy.
Yeah, they're like, just do the same thing again, man.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, cool.
anyway, onward to writing. As we already
Yeah.
touched on, there's some bits of dialogue that's a little
Yeah.
clunky. And I think some plot holes that do get somewhat resolved as the sequels progress. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt for this one movie because it was their first movie. This was their baby, and James Wan is doing quite well in life.
Yeah.
He's the father of the Conjuring universe, which why do we need a
Yes.
Conjuring universe? No one's answered that question for me, but we have it.
Yes, we sure do. And we have the universes of the Conjuring spin-offs too,
I
right? The
I
Annabelle
watched
movie.
yeah, there's Annabelle and the Nun,
Oh yeah,
and
too.
the Nun 2 is tying directly into the Conjuring, The Last Rites. And maybe someday we'll do a Conjuring retrospective because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I always need to refresh myself because whenever I'm really like, okay, I'm gonna watch The Conjuring again. I'm gonna watch them all again. And then when I revisit, I'm like, oh my God, there's like five Conjurings.
Yeah.
Because I mix it up with Insidious because that
Hmm.
guy's in it, the same guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then
We should.
there's the 4 or 5, I think soon to be 5. I think there's currently 4, soon to be 5
Yeah.
Conjuring movies, plus the
Oh,
3 Annabelle movies, plus the 2
oh,
Nun movies.
oh gosh.
I don't want to do homework when I am watching movies, okay? I'm
I know,
sorry.
right? I hear you, dude.
That's why we're at the point that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is finally starting to fail despite years of people saying, "No, it's a juggernaut. It's not going to fail." But then you start throwing in TV shows that they say won't tie into the movies. But then guess what? The TV shows tie directly into the movies, and you shouldn't have to do homework to go
Yeah,
see a movie. Like I
yeah,
see Marvel movies sporadically now because I think Endgame was a good ending, but I don't want to do homework and I'm
yeah.
confused. I
And
pick it up. I
when you say do homework, you mean like when you want to go see a movie or watch a show, you don't have to like watch a ton of stuff before
yeah,
and like read up so you know what's happening so you're not confused with what they're
yeah,
doing in the yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And we're reaching that point. We have officially reached that point with The Conjuring because I did see The Nun 2 and the end credit scene implies that it's going to tie directly into the next Conjuring movie, which Conjuring is the only like aspect of that universe I care about.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, because it's the first one, it's the best one. It's based off of, real people.
Yeah.
So it's got that element too, so it makes it a bit unique. But now we're just like, oh my God, we're going and
Yeah.
going and going, and how
Yeah.
much more can we do?
So anyway, back to James Wan's first project.
Yes.
Uh,
So
so the story opens with Dr. Lawrence and Adam waking up in a dilapidated room, chained to the wall. They're like, "The fuck is going on here?" And the
they're
Jigsaw
fucking
Killer.
confused.
There's a tape that plays for them what they need to do in order to get out of the room. And I just got to touch on this right now is Jigsaw was so nice back in the day. He gave people like hours to figure out their puzzles.
Yeah, I know.
These days
Yeah,
you're
hours,
lucky.
like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it was like a full day for Adam and Dr. Lawrence.
Yeah, they just sat around and then it's funny because they kind of run out of time because they forgot
Yeah.
that they're being timed.
Yeah, like I think when we see the clock in the beginning, it's like 10:30 at night,
Yeah.
morning, who knows. But they have
Yeah.
until 6 o'clock to figure it out.
That's all fucking day. Like 8 hours.
these days in a Saw movie, you're lucky if you get 10 minutes, which is a
Like
complaint
10
we'll
seconds.
which is a complaint we'll get to when we get to the much later movies when it's no longer Jim Kramer designing the traps, or Amanda. Um,
Yeah.
but that other guy who doesn't des-
Hoffman.
Hoffman, because
Hmm.
Hoffman's traps are designed not to be winnable. But John Kramer wanted them to be winnable, except for maybe that one ribcage one
Wait, no,
in
those are
three.
Amanda's. Are they Amanda's or are they Hoffman's? I thought they were Amanda's problem.
I
They were
guess we'll figure that
unwinnable.
out with the sequels. Who was
Yeah,
designing unwinnable traps?
I think it was Amanda. She's all fucked up in the head. And then Hoffman, yeah, he's like a whole other story, but he's a fan favorite on the subreddit.
Yeah, I bet he is.
Because he's such a huge hunk of a man. He's like so
Yeah.
big. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not in this one yet. Because
Yeah.
they didn't need to develop any new people yet.
Yeah,
Because they didn't
this works as
know.
a standalone.
Yeah. But then it
Uh,
freaking people went crazy over this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, they look around the room and Adam finds a bag containing two hacksaws. They try rationally at first to saw through the chains, but that doesn't work. And Lawrence figures out, oh, we're supposed to saw through our legs, and they're like, fuck that.
They're like,
Like,
"Ha, I'd rather die.
yeah.
I'll just sit here."
Um, and
Real.
then there's some nice touching moments where Lawrence and Adam are looking through each other's wallets and talking about their families. And Adam finds a note and a picture of uh, Lawrence's wife and daughter bound and gagged with a note that says, if you don't make a decision, they're going to die. Yeah, something like that.
I think it says you can see better with your eyes shut or something.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Same
Which
shit.
which leads him to say, "Hey, turn out the lights. Let's see if anything shows up when we turn out the lights." And so they do,
Yeah.
and they find the X on the wall, and they get a cell phone that can receive calls but can't make calls.
Yeah.
And Lawrence is like, "Hey, how'd you know how to do that?" And he was like, but I don't know." And then they fight, and
Yeah.
he
It's
he
like you're
says,
a
"Here's a note.
liar.
Here's the note. Your wife and daughter are kidnapped, and
They're fucked up. Yeah, they're kidnapped by a freak.
yeah."
He's like,
Uh,
oh no, I'm sorry.
And while they're trying to figure all this out, we have a flashback to like 5 months prior where Detective David Tapp and Stephen Singh are investigating the Jigsaw murders, and we get a look into some of the other traps that Jigsaw has set for his people, including
Yeah.
the razor wire. You gotta tunnel your way out of the razor wire, and the here's a safe, unlock it, but don't light yourself on fire.
That is actually, that trap is a very hot topic because a lot of individuals believe that it's completely unwinnable in the amount of time the man had
Hmm.
because of all the numbers on the walls for the combination and that plus the fire plus
And
the
the broken glass.
glass. Yeah, and like just being naked too.
Yeah.
But also let's talk about the reason why these people are in traps. Like the reason why that dude is in that room trying to get the thing out of safe, he literally says, "Ah, if you're so sick, why are you out and about all the time?"
Yeah.
Well, we'll
No,
see about that. I've poisoned you.
yeah, no. Listen,
Wait,
I'm not saying John
fine.
Kramer's philosophy is perfect
It's
by
just
any means,
funny.
because a lot of it, he does put people away for very petty reasons. And I know in a couple of the sequels, we're going to see some fucked up instances where he puts
Yeah.
abuse victims in traps. And he's like, if you value your life and want to live, you'll get out of this trap and it'll give you the strength to leave your abuser. And
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
just super fucked up things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up.
yeah.
Continue.
Along with as they're going through this investigation, they find a pen light that belongs to Dr. Lawrence, which ties him into a possible reason why he's in this trap.
Yeah.
Um, but he has an alibi that clears him, and
He's
he
cheating on his
agrees.
wife.
Yeah, he agrees to view the testimony of Amanda Young, who is the only known survivor of the Jigsaw traps. Um,
Yeah.
they were able to find Jigsaw's warehouse using the videotape from Amanda's game, and they apprehend Jigsaw and saved a man from a trap, but Jigsaw escaped after Singh triggered a shotgun trap in the hallway that killed him.
Yeah, but he did you say he also slashed Tap's throat? And he has his
No, I missed
legendary
that.
throat scar. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, he was like, yeah, and oh, that trap though with the shotguns, that's pretty nice. I like that trap a lot. But rest in peace, Sing, very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So
continue.
now that we've got all that established, we check in on Lawrence's wife and daughter, who are being held hostage by we don't know who, but it's probably that Zepp guy.
Yeah, such a
Um,
creep.
um, he's the red herring in this movie.
Yeah,
He
yes.
he calls Lawrence and has his wife tell him, "Hey, you can't trust Adam," to try and sow
Yeah.
discourse in the room.
Yeah, Discord.
Discord in the room. I have a cold. Leave me alone.
But they have a discourse after that occurs.
Yes,
So you're correct still. Yeah.
Discord, like the chat
Like
app.
the chat app that we connect um,
Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah.
So anyway,
But yeah,
they
he's like,
fight. They
you're a
fight some.
liar. Yeah, they
They fight some
fight.
more, and with the cell phone was a pack of cigarettes that I think are poisoned.
No, they're not poisoned. He says, and this is something that I find questionable. The note says when there's that much poison left in your blood, the only thing left to do is to kill yourself, which insinuates that the man in the room who is quote unquote dead had so much poison in his blood that he killed himself and the blood was all over the floor. So Lawrence assumes it's filled with poison. And so he dips a cigarette into the
Oh,
poisonous blood, puts it
yes.
in the thing, and gives Adam the okay cigarette.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
continue.
But Jigsaw doesn't fall for it. He electrocutes Adam to wake him up to make sure he's not dead. And he's like, I got electrocuted. And Lawrence says, Shut up. It was
He's like,
supposed to
you're a
work.
little bitch. He's like, no, I really did. I really did. And he's like, ah!
Um,
Yeah,
so anyway, all of that, Allison, the wife, manages to get out of her binds, fights Zepp, holds him at gunpoint. The cop who's been spying on the doctor rushes
Tap.
over to save the day.
Thank goodness he's spying on that apartment because he becomes obsessed with like capturing Jigsaw because he got
Yeah.
away. Thank goodness he saves them
So he
anyway.
saves them. They seek refuge with neighbors.
Yeah.
Um, there's a high-speed car chase between Tap and Zepp.
The high
Um,
speed car chases are really funny.
yeah, and so Zepp leads him to the new warehouse where Lawrence and Adam are being held captive, and Lawrence is sawing off his leg.
Yeah, because he
Yes, he
can't
did
reach
saw
the
off his leg.
phone. Yeah.
He saws off his leg because he assumes his wife and daughter are dead. Because he couldn't,
Yeah.
he can't see what's going on in the other line. This was before
No.
FaceTime.
I know. He all he hears, well, the phone, the last thing he hears is like them struggling and gunshots, and then
Yeah.
he like the phone gets out of the reach of him and it's ringing and he can't answer it. So because he can't reach it, that's when he goes for it. And I was like, what are you doing? Oh my God, stop. And he's like, shut the
Yeah.
fuck up, Adam.
So Zepp comes in after he kills Tap because Tap can't be the
Oh,
hero of this movie. There are no heroes in the
rest
Saw
in peace.
franchise.
Yeah, rest in peace, Dad.
Zepp comes in to finish the game, what we think is the game, by killing what's his face, but then Adam takes the lid of the toilet and bashes Zepp's skull in.
Wait, we need to back up a little bit. So after dude cuts off his foot, he shoots quote unquote Adam to win the game, but he shoots him in a spot where there's no actual like huge damage, and so Adam is laying on the ground supposedly dead, and then he pops up and like fucking beats on dude with the toilet thingy. Anyway, continue.
uh yes. And then I can't remember the dialogue, but
I bet I can. What is it? What
no,
part?
because Yeah, Lawrence shoots Adam in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yes. And then Lawrence is like, I have to, you're gonna be fine. I just shot your shoulder. I'm gonna crawl out of here and go get help before I bleed to death.
Yeah. And
Um,
he's like, don't worry, I'll bring somebody back. Bye.
so he crawls out and thinking that Zepp is the one in charge of the game, Adam
Yeah.
rummages through his pockets looking for a key to free himself. So probably to go help Lawrence and call for help himself because there's no way Lawrence can get away with his injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but he doesn't find a key. He finds a tape recorder and realizes Zepp is just another victim of Jigsaw, who's following his own rules to obtain an antidote for a slow acting poison in his body. And the answer is yes, he is willing to kill a mother and her child to save himself.
What a psycho. But
Um,
that's very cool because it cues the very cool Saw theme song, which originally is called Hello Zep, and that's how you know that you're about to see the crazy twist
ooh.
montage. Happens
Yeah,
in
and
every movie.
as this montage of flashbacks is going on, the corpse in the room rises, and it turns out to be John Kramer, who's the real Jigsaw killer.
He's like,
Um, John
hello.
tells Adam that the key to his chain was in the bathtub. It went down the drain when Adam had first awoken and
Yeah.
drained the water. Adam attempts to shoot John with Zepp's gun, but John electrically shocks him
Can't believe
through
it
his
was
chain.
doing
John
that.
exits the bathroom before sealing the door, leaving Adam to die. And
And
we
he's
do
in
know,
game over.
yep, and we do know that Adam dies because in 2 or 3 we revisit the room and Adam's corpse is there.
I know, but he dies in a different way, though. He doesn't die just from being stuck in the room.
Yeah, I can't remember, so let's wait
I
till
don't
we
want to
get yeah,
say it. I don't want to say
yeah,
it, but you'll see. But
yeah,
yeah, and that's why I feel sad because he
yeah,
never gets to get out, and he turns the light off too, which is extra scary.
yeah.
Ugh.
Because
But
Adam can't get to the light.
I know. Well, Adam needs to cut his foot off. He's a little bitch, but he broke his
Yeah,
saw, so he
yeah,
fucked up and threw it across the room. Now he has nothing to do, but
yeah.
he could figure it out. But anyway, I do want to make a quick note for viewers that like maybe have not watched this, but the reason why Adam the reason why Lawrence's wife said don't listen to Adam's lies is because Adam has been hired by Detective Tapp to
Mm-hmm.
take photos of Lawrence Gordon for the past few days. And that's how he discovers that he's cheating on his wife because Tapp is obsessed with Lawrence, thinking that it's really is him that is Jigsaw. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
why Tapp is got a camera on Lawrence's apartment. But luckily, that's how he's able to like see this whole thing go down with Zepp being the man in the apartment, not Lawrence. Just to clarify that.
Mm-hmm. Um, so to finish talking about writing, I do want to transition a bit into production
Do it.
because this movie was not originally going to go to theaters. It was going to be a straight to video release. And
That's
reading that
crazy.
on Wikipedia answered a lot of like questions because when I was rewatching this morning,
Yeah,
I was like, I can't believe we've gotten a 20-year legacy out of this movie because it does have the quality of a straight to VHS
it
movie.
does.
It's very cheaply made, sounds mean, but it is cheaply made. The writing is a
Yeah,
bit clunky in some spaces, and like I think they got super lucky that they just caught a hype train at Sundance that
dude,
Lionsgate
yeah.
took this risk on them.
I know, like, and how do you, it's so crazy to think that they're like, you know what? This is something that we need. I'm really into, this like thing about trying to save your own life, but then it like took a turn when it got picked up and it became something that we all didn't know we needed, which was like the
Mhm.
torture porn stuff,
Yeah,
the crazy gore and not crazy gore, but like the crazy bodily harm.
yeah. And we need to talk about John Kramer and what a dramatic bitch he is because why did he need to be laying on the floor for that long?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, who's he supposed to be? Like, just some
Yeah.
dude that like shot it. Like, who is this guy?
Like that only works. The twist only works if Zepp comes in,
Yeah.
gets killed, they find the tape. Like, was he going to reveal himself if they won or
Yeah, how long was he planning to stay there? It's a
Like,
very good
what was his
question.
end game there?
That's a good
Um,
question.
other than just taking a nap. I don't know. Maybe his plan was always to kill Dr. Lawrence. I don't know. But he's pissed that he has brain cancer that can't be cured. Uh,
Well,
so
he's pissed because Dr. Lawrence Gordon was his cancer doctor, and
yeah,
he told him that it was inoperable. So now he's like mad
yeah.
at
So
him.
maybe his plan was to just
She's like, I'm
kill
so
Lawrence
mad.
regardless.
Just cut my brain open and take it out. You can't do it. You can't do it, you little bitch. Well, I bet you're a
Mhm.
bad guy. Oh, look, you're cheating on your wife. I knew it. I'm going to make
Yep.
you
You're
pay.
you're just as bad as the guy faking sick to get out of work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh
Um,
man. Okay, what else you got?
let's see what other fun tidbits.
Yeah.
Um, Wan did not intend to make a torture porn film, and the script only had one short segment of torture. He said the film played out like a mystery thriller, which I agree. The original
Yeah.
Saw, like trilogy, Saw 1 through 3,
Yeah.
very much a mystery thriller genre movie and not the torture porn people paint it to be. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I wanted to point out is I remember when this movie came out, even though I was super young, and why
Yeah.
I put off watching it for so long is everybody's like, no, it's the most like disgusting and violent movie I have
I
ever seen.
know people
And
really freaked out, and it's
and
not, dude.
watching it today, I was like, this is so much tamer compared to
It's
what
so
we were getting in the
tame.
80s.
I
Like
know.
by the
It,
time we get to Friday the 13th part 9, Jason in New York, which was really Toronto, or even the
yeah.
later um Nightmare on Elm Street movies, like those
Yeah.
deaths were getting incredibly
Insane-o.
violent. Um
Yeah. This you
when you're
barely see Lawrence cut his foot off. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I think several years earlier from this movie we had Halloween H2O, which I thought had one of the most graphic kills I had seen at that point in my life the first time I had watched it, which was Michael gutting a woman and hanging her up on a light bulb so the light bulb's in her stomach.
Oh
Like we
my
don't
God.
excuse me, we don't get any of that in this movie.
No.
So
No.
I don't think it got the reputation it deserved. So I feel like maybe Juan is a little frustrated in that aspect because it's so tame. Like it's
Yeah.
not a torture porn at no point. Like future ones, absolutely. Like Saw 10, the bone marrow shit made me want to
Ugh.
vomit.
Yeah. And cutting your leg off with like exactly the bone marrow because she cut it off with the wire. Oh, that got me. And then the bone marrow thing was right after. The same
Yeah,
girl. Jesus
the
Christ.
operating on your own brain. So like this really was just a mystery thriller that kind of got a reputation it
Oh,
didn't deserve because like it doesn't
yeah.
stand out to me in
Yeah.
that regard, in the gore regard,
Yeah.
because the gore was very realistic. It was very tame. It was
Yeah.
bloody, sure, but
It wasn't
mm,
like crazy in your
yeah,
face like it's
n-
become.
nobody had to extract their own bone marrow.
Oh, good Lord. But yeah, but now that it is the franchise that is the torture porn one, it's like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna go all in.
Mhm. So they initially only had $30,000 to spend on this movie. The script was developed when the script was developed, it was clear that more funds were needed. The script was optioned by a producer in Sydney for a year, but the deal eventually fell through after another failed attempt to get the film produced in Australia. They moved to Los Angeles, where their chances to find an interested studio were greater. They initially refused due to lack of traveling funds, but the pair's agent convinced them to go. In order to help studios take an interest in the script, Whannell provided $5,000 to make a short film based on the script's jaw trap scene. So the bear trap scene was the first produced content they ever made for Saw, and it was just a short film that is referred to as Saw and a Half,
Hmm,
um, and that was used to be a proof of concept what they were trying to do to help get funding. It was shot that short was shot with the 16 millimeter camera over 2 days, and the footage was transferred to DVDs along with the script. And Winal always wanted to play the lead character in the feature film.
nice. It says introducing him. So is this his first big
Yeah,
movie, I guess.
this is their big jumping off point. We wouldn't have The Conjuring
Nice.
without Saw.
Yeah. How cool.
So Carey Elwes was sent the short film on DVD immediately and immediately became interested in playing Dr. Lawrence Gordon. He read the script in one sitting and was drawn by
Nice.
the uniqueness and originality of the story. Um, then Shawnee Smith was not a horror fan and originally did not want to play Amanda Young, describing the script as horrific. However, after watching the short, she agreed to the role, which was the part that Whannell portrayed in the short.
Mm,
So that would have been a big change if
yeah.
she ended up not doing it. We could have a different Amanda.
Oh
Um,
God. Yeah.
on taking on the role of Jigsaw, Tobin Bell said, I did Saw because I thought it was a fascinating location for a film to be made. These guys locked us in a room. To me, was these guys locked in a room to me was fresh. I did not anticipate the ending when I read the script, so I was quite caught by surprise. And it was
Hmm.
clear to me that if the filmmakers shot the scene well and the audience would be caught by surprise as well, the film was worth doing for that moment alone.
Nice.
Um, and he wanted to take the opportunity to work with Danny Glover, whom he had never worked with. There's nothing about what got Danny Glover attached, but oh wait, here it is. Hold on, here it is. I found it. Danny Glover was cast as Detective Tapp, who is in pursuit of the Jigsaw Killer. Glover stated in an interview, "Something about that detective character at that particular moment attracted me to it." So
Nice.
they just caught lightning in a bottle with this movie. Um, they eventually secured a shooting budget of $700,000, so much bigger than 30,000.
Yeah.
Um,
Looks like their total budget was 1.2 million.
yeah, that's when you add in all the marketing and shit. And um,
Yeah. A production budget of between 1 million and 1.2 million. Yeah.
yeah, do you have any production notes?
Um, Let me think through. So, I think I want to take note of how I think Saw 1 through 3, we can say that like those ones are like the most tightly connected because
Mm-hmm.
how similar they are where they look. But I
I
want to
agree.
take yeah, like I want to take note that like how they look and the colors utilized for like the filming and everything like that, like washed out here, like a yellow hue here, brown hue here. This is something that we get into very heavily in 2 and 3, especially
Mm-hmm.
2. And I think that's really cool and different because if we're getting into the realm of like trying to gross people out with stuff with body horror and that coloring of however that's done, Sam, is like really different and unique,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps get the viewer in there, to feel
Yeah,
like eerie and creeped out.
it was very gritty, and you could feel the restraints of the budget on the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think it's my favorite Saw movie in the franchise. I'm pretty sure 2 is my favorite.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the house.
yeah, I
That's a
like
good one.
that. That's probably my favorite twist in the franchise. I mean,
Yeah.
had I not been 9 years old when the first Saw movie came out, I'm sure this twist ending would have blown my mind too. But by the time
Yeah.
you watch 2 and 3, you already know what the twist in Saw 1 is going to be. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that magic is taken away. But I really like the Saw 2 twist, and I like the traps in 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the traps are great. Into and I also want to say that like I really like 2 a lot because we get like a lot of screen time with Tobin Bell, which is
Mhm.
really cool. But alternatively, 2 has like my least favorite character, which is the fucking cop guy
Oh yeah.
whose kid is in the house,
Uh-huh.
the Wahlberg guy,
Hmm.
and not Donnie. So, but yeah, but I still love number 1. I think it's so great. I think Saw 1 has like the coolest movie poster like ever.
Hmm.
Um, with the foot cut
Yeah.
off. But I don't think I have any other production. Oh,
Yeah.
here's a production note, and I don't know if like you noticed this or I like forgot to try to notice, but like this movie had like awkward early 2000s like music.
Uh-huh.
randomly in it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just wanted to take note of that.
Yeah, which is another point on why I'm shocked that here we are 20 years later with the newest Saw movie coming out just last year, still
Yeah.
talking about it because I feel like had it not gotten that hype from it being a quote unquote torture porn, which it wasn't. Why were we being pansies in 2004?
I know we really were like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. Cut
He
off your
cut off his
foot.
foot.
He cut off his foot.
Um,
I know.
had it not gotten that hype, I don't think we would have 10 sequels.
Yeah. 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 10 sequels, guys. And you know what? I feel like Sam and I, although like we may like one more than the other, Sam and I adore them all equally. Okay. We're
Yep.
not like, oh, there's too many. Like, no,
Yeah.
we love that shit.
No, Saw, like that being said, it's also amazing that this first
Yeah.
Saw is so influential on all the horror
Yes.
movies that came out after it.
Yeah.
Like James Wan is incredibly successful. He filmed
Yes.
two DC cinematic universe movies, being Aquaman.
Yeah.
I know Aquaman 2 is apparently terrible, but I heard good things about the first one.
Yeah.
Like so for him to come out of this like tiny little independent horror movie that they could not find funding for to being one of the most highly regarded directors in
Yeah.
two genres is really
Mm-hmm.
impressive and inspiring.
Very. Yeah,
So
it is
um
inspiring. Yeah, especially the
'cause-
horror like element and like yeah, The Conjuring. Did he do Insidious too?
I
Am I
don't think he
crazy?
did.
Okay, no, okay. I just think they're
I
so
don't
similar because they have the
yeah.
same actor. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
not the
I
same
don't think
movie.
he did. But
Okay.
Conjuring, I still think Conjuring 1 is one of the best horror movies that's come out in the past decade.
No, he
It's
did do
very good.
Insidious.
Oh, did
Yeah.
he?
Yeah,
Oh,
shit, man.
why would they do that? You're always gonna get those movies confused now.
It's like the same one because it's Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Um,
anyway, I'm sorry.
but yeah, I
But
have nothing but good things to say about James Wan. I feel like we
yeah.
reviewed another one of Whannell's movies. I
Hmm.
can't remember it now, but it's the one with the third Hemsworth.
Let me look at his
Oh, well, Whannell
movies.
also did some Insidious movies with Wan.
Yeah, well, I'll have to keep an eye out for him.
He also did Dead Silence, which I remember Dead Silence. I never watched it, but I remember it.
Oh my God, you know who he is in fucking Insidious?
Whom?
I and like I don't know if you remember this, but in Insidious they have like those like two or three men that are in like white shirts and black ties and or like whatever, and they
Hmm.
like come to set up everything to catch like camera footage. And he's one
Hmm.
of them, and his name is Specs, and he had must have like glasses on.
Hmm.
Oh man, well that's cool. Go Adam,
Hmm.
go Adam. But yeah, what you said we saw we reviewed another one of his movies.
I think we did. Maybe it was another Saw writer. I can't remember what movie it is. We've watched a lot of movies.
I
Anyway,
know. Yeah,
um,
we've watched a lot of movies.
no, so realistic aspects, I guess.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Waking up and chained to a pipe is horrifying. Your husband cheating on you with his secretary is horrifying. A cop becoming obsessed
Yeah.
with you because your pen was like at a crime scene. Like that's a dumb reason to like hound someone as a murderer. Like I have so many brand pens that I could leave at
Yes.
any place at any point in time.
Yeah. 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 Having him become obsessed with you and like having him like watch your like window to your house and like have a photographer like take pictures of you and shit.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, just like having a rough time with life and then being targeted by Jigsaw because he's like, you're not living your life to the fullest right now
Mhm.
for my liking. So therefore, I'm
According to
going to put,
him.
yeah, so I'm going to put you in a trap now. Rest in peace. You probably won't make it because it's really, really
Oh,
hard.
you're playing hooky from work. Light yourself on fire.
There's this one, I don't know if it's like in the next movie or what, but a lot of people like really find he gets somebody in a trap for like smoking. And like that's the only bad thing he did. He's like, you're a long time smoker, but I'm not gonna let you smoke people with your games, like such crazy shit. And we're like, wow, okay, you must hate cigarettes, but
Hmm.
you never know when you're gonna get like the one gem of like a trap that like this person really shouldn't be in. They didn't
Hmm.
really do anything wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other aspects would be, I don't know. I
Guys
think we
hiding in your
get over.
closet.
Yeah. Also, I did want to bring up, and this is for production, but not only did we get like, like the Jigsaw Killer as like this uh franchise face of the franchise, we get the Billy puppet, which we see for the first time in this one,
Hmm.
which is very scary and like no one knows what the fuck that's about, and we don't learn until like many movies later why that even exists. And so that just
Oh yeah,
it's
in this
just there to
movie,
look scary. Yeah.
yeah, in this movie, the Billy puppet doesn't even play a role. He never pops up on a TV. He doesn't ride his little bike around. He just laughs one time and he's there.
What? In this movie?
Yeah, did Billy show up?
Sam, he's in this movie a lot. What did you watch the movie this morning or what?
I did watch it this morning. Billy was in it like
Girl.
one time.
Dude, Billy's in some of the films, but he's in the scene where Amanda is getting out of her trap. He rides in on his unicycle and
Okay.
speaks to her
What was I
through
doing?
the Billy puppet. Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
What
Maybe
was
you
I
stepped
doing?
away. Well, he was in this movie a lot, and I wanted to bring that up, and then I wanted to bring up also the pig head, which is like the cousin to the Billy puppet, because
Hmm.
that's like a scare, but it's like, dude could wear a mask, but he's like, no, let's like do a pig head. And we don't find out why that is significant until like other movies way later on down the road.
Hmm.
And so we get all this stuff, and it's really cool that we do have like so many movies to kind of tie shit together because we have so much to work with, to like
Yeah.
to figure out like why is Billy puppet significant? Why does he have a pig head on? Why does he have like a cape that's like black and red inside?
What
So
was I?
all that. And
This
then
is
we're
the
like,
problem with nonlinear storytelling. And I
yeah,
say that as I'm
that
working
too.
on a nonlinear story
It is
is
very non-linear.
I
Yeah.
miss shit and I feel like they do kind of drop the nonlinear aspect in sequels. Um,
Dude, yeah, and that's like a soft thing, is to make it so non-linear that you don't even realize, and you're like, oh, is this all happening like in
mhm.
sequence? And you're like, oh my God, this happened yesterday? What
Yeah,
the fuck?
I think Saw
Especially
2
into,
handles it a lot better.
oh, yeah, but also Saw 2, that's one of the biggest twists. Spoiler alert, like the whole time you're watching the thing and it's pre-recorded. So you're like, oh my God, this already happened 5 hours ago. Jesus fucking Christ. So it's not live. So it's like a huge twist that we always forget. And you're like, oh shit, we got to remember that, like, actually, the whole movie of Saw is an reliable narrator.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I think that's everything I got though.
Yeah, so yeah, I'd give this an yeah, it fucked me up. Maybe like first time I saw it, it's probably a meh, but when you look at the legacy of this one movie, fine, yeah,
Oh my God,
it's
yeah. Thank you,
it's
James
good.
Wan. Thank you,
Yeah,
James Wan. Oh my gosh, because now it's like my favorite franchise.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, that fucked
Oh
me
yeah.
up.
That fucked me up.
Um, is it the strongest in the series? I guess we'll find out.
Yes, we'll find out. And then also it's up to you.
Yeah.
I think it's my favorite because it's just the first one, but I love other ones too for different reasons.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's
I
other traps I prefer.
yeah, I do think, and I'll go back and eat my words if I have to. I think in retrospective, as we go through this series movie by movie, I do think it'll probably be the weakest one because it's the first, just because it's the first in the franchise and they hadn't really
Yeah.
perfected the formula. And Wan and Whannell were both, this was their first movie.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
think as we move forward and also just looking at, what James Wan did later in the future, what they both did in the
Yeah.
future, um, it is probably the weakest like component of their portfolios just because it is the first thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Um,
I can agree with that too, because like it, compared to the other like Saw movies, there's like what, like three traps in this movie, like the dudes are in one
mhm,
place, there's no action, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But we get an actiony element as we
Hmm.
move forward. And yeah, no, I
And I
agree.
think we'll see the same thing with Tobin Bell's performance. See how it grows as the series goes on, from
Yeah.
saying like, I mean, he had more than one line, but I'm going to say he had like one line because we only saw one line come out of his mouth. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
to Saw
Caleb.
10, which I think is one of the most beautiful performances I've seen in a horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so seeing how he grows as an actor in his 60s at this point to
Dude, he's
where
81
he,
now, but yeah,
yeah,
he's
where
60s
he
at
is in
that
Saw
point.
10, which is an 81-year-old man.
I know, he's so
Um,
old, but he's great. I love it.
yeah. So anyway,
Go for the win.
we will continue this discussion with Saw 2 in 2 weeks. Once again, we're watching Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix for our mini shows.
Today is
So
Edgar
watch
Allan Poe's birthday. He would have been 125 today.
Happy Birthday Poe.
I think 125, maybe 225. Yeah, but happy birthday, Pro. I wanted to say that because I knew that we were going to be watching Poe stuff.
Yeah.
HBD guy.
Yeah. So watch the first episode, read the short story, Follow the House of Usher, maybe The Raven if you haven't read it since high school.
Dude, in high school, I was such an Edgar Allan Poe nerd that I had like at
In
one
high
point
school, you still
memorized.
are.
No, I mean like in middle school. I'm sorry, I meant to say middle school, 8th grade. And then I had it like memorized for a brief time. But yeah, anyway. 215th birthday, Edgar Allan Poe. He was
Nice.
born on this day, lived for 40 years, and died in October.
All right.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's where we
that's
should wrap up.
everything. Okay, well, cool. Thanks for tuning into our episode. We are the Real Horror Show podcast. Our host is Sam Odie, and I'm the co-host, Stormy Skies. Podcast was created by Sam Odie and Stormy Skies and is directed, edited, and produced by Sam Odie. You can find Sam on Instagram at Sam is Writing Stuff, and you can find Stormy on Instagram at The Stormy Skies. You can find the Real Horror Show podcast on Spotify, TuneIn, iTunes, Google Play Store, Pandora, excuse me, and anywhere you like to stream your podcasts. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you're always in the know when a new episode comes out. Follow us on social media. You can find the Real Horror Show podcast on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, and yes, Twitter too. We do more than just podcasts. We love to write and have plenty of great movie reviews and essays, all of which can be found on our website, realhorrorshow.com. We love hearing from our listeners. You can ask us a question or send us a movie request to review by DMing us on social media, or you can even send us an email at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. Call for guests. Do you love horror movies? Are you a podcaster, a content creator, a movie lover, or anyone in between who is a listener to our show? We would love to have you as a guest on one of our episodes. Reach out to us via social media, DM, or email us at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. Our podcast episodes featuring guests are all listed on our website, realhorrorshow.com. We are so thankful for all of our listeners. You are the life force of our podcast, and we wouldn't really exist without you. Thank you all for making this podcast real and supporting us as we record every week. You can support us in different ways, such as liking and sharing our podcast episodes on social media. Giving us a review will help the podcast more than you know, and will help other listeners find it too. You can also donate to Real Horror Show by visiting our support page on our website, where you can make a one-time donation via PayPal, buy us a coffee with the Buy Us a Coffee button, or explore our very interesting Amazon wish list. And any other pertinent news?
Not at the moment.
Other than I hope Sam gets better from her common cold.
I already feel better talking about it.
Yeah, good, good. And anyone who's experiencing the East Coast snowy weather and cold, stay warm and safe out there. Watch The Fall of the House of Usher, read the story The Fall of the House of Usher. We'll be back next week. Our outro song is called Creepy Doll by Jonathan Colton, and he can be found at jonathancolton.com. Thank you, fuck off, and have a swell evening. This is Real Horror Show signing off.
Bye.
Bye-bye.